Part 110. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1091. Chapter 1091. Chen Chen, this kid looks like your second uncle. The old lady does not seem like a difficult person to get along with. He blushed a little, opened his mouth, and called Grandma in a low voice. The old lady smiled with satisfaction, looked at him with gentle eyes for a while, and then said with a surprised look on her face, "ACI, have you noticed that this kid Chen Chen looks like your second uncle? Tisk, tisk, these eyebrows are exactly the same." Mo had noticed this a long time ago and nodded, "Well, Chen Chen and the second uncle are somewhat similar." What a resemblance! The old lady became more and more surprised as she looked at it. She sighed in surprise again. "He looks very much like your second uncle. If someone tells me that he is your second uncle's son, I will be fine. Don't believe it. The second master of the Mo family is the second son of the old lady. What he looked like when he was young, the old lady knows best. The little boy named Xiao Chen in front of her looks like the exact same model as her second son when he was young. The only difference is that he looks a little thinner and haggard. If I gain another 10 or 20 pounds, it will be exactly the same. There are many people who look alike. But if they look the same as those printed from the same mold, there are relatively few of them. Yes, old lady. Uncle Zhang, who followed them in, also sighed. "I was surprised when I first saw Mr. Chiao. Mr. Chiao and the second master really look alike. It's a pity that the second child is not at home." The old lady looked at Xiao Chen and said, "Otherwise he would be even more surprised if he saw it himself." Mian, do you and Chen Chen look like your father and the other like your mother?" The old lady knew that Jiao Mian had a younger brother. After learning that Jiao Mian and Mo were married, she sent someone to investigate Jiao Mian. "I have some understanding of her family background." But the old lady didn't know what Jiao Chen looked like. Now seeing that their siblings didn't look alike, I asked curiously. "Generally speaking, if they are siblings, even if one is like his father and the other is like his mother, there will always be some similarities between them. But these two siblings really have no resemblance at all. They were both born very well, but they didn't look like siblings." Jiao Mian was startled when the old lady asked. It seems that more than once someone has said that she and Xiao Chen don't look alike. Someone also asked the same question as the old lady. But she and Xiao Chen don't seem to be very similar to Xiao's father and Xiao's mother. On the other hand, Xiao Angzhen is very much like his father. It seems so. Jiao Mian was stunned for a few seconds and did not tell the truth to the old lady. It's not that she wants to hide anything. She just didn't know what to say. "Let's be honest, isn't that weird? Not like my father, nor like my mother, so who is she like?" "Then your father and mother both had good births," the old lady said with a smile. "Only then can you give birth to such beautiful children as you two siblings. This Chen Chen also looks like a child of my Mo family. It can be seen that you two siblings and our Jiao family, it's fate." Because the old lady likes Jiao Mian, she also thinks that Jiao Chen is a good child. Now because Jiao Chen looks similar to her second son, she likes and loves Jiao Chen even more. He looked at Jiao Chen as if he were looking at his grandson. The more the old lady showed that she was very fond of and satisfied with the Jiao siblings, the more panicked Mo became. First she was dissatisfied with Jiao Mian, and now she also dislikes Jiao Chen. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1092. Chapter 1092. The old lady is partial. Even when Jiao Mian brought Xiao Chen over for dinner, she felt that Jiao Mian was plotting something. Did she bring a younger brother here who looks very similar to the second eldest son of the Mo family? Did she want to use her younger brother to gain the old lady's favor and consolidate her status in the Mo family? Because she talked to her once before. So she had a sense of crisis. Anyway, MRSMO has already decided that Jiao Mian is a scheming girl. So everything Jiao Mian does, in her eyes, is done with scheming and purpose. MRSMO sat aside with a cold face and said nothing. No matter what tricks Jiao Mian, used, she had to drive this scheming woman out of the Mo family. When the old lady turned around and saw MRSMO's cold face, her face could not help but darken, and she said with an unhappy tone, "When I was not at home, you were reading it every day. Now that my son is back with his daughter-in-law, why are you acting like a dull gourd and not even saying a word? This family is so happy, why are you keeping a straight face? Who made you unhappy? Why do you want to show your face at this time?" The old lady was not polite at all when she scolded MRSMO. Nor give her any face. MRSMO felt that she had lost all face when being scolded in public, and her face suddenly looked a little ugly. The person who scolded her was an old lady. She did not dare to refute anything except listening. She had the aggrieved expression of a frustrated little daughter-in-law. "Mom, I don't have a straight face. I just saw you guys chatting so happily, and I didn't know what to say." The old lady snorted coldly, "I don't care what you think. In short, when my grandson and granddaughter-in-law are back, you can't keep a straight face for me. If you are unhappy about something and feel uncomfortable staying here, just give it to me. Go back to your room. No one here likes to see you showing off." MRSMO pursed her lips and her face turned pale. She felt aggrieved and angry. She felt that the old lady was partial. She is so harsh on her daughter-in-law, but she is extremely kind to Jiao Mian. Like a biological granddaughter. Even when Jiao Mian went to film, she didn't say anything. But the old lady had told her before that women should stay at home and take care of their husbands and children, and do as little as possible those things that are public. Isn't being an actor enough to show off one's face? If it were her to become an actress and film a movie, the old lady would never allow it. MRSMO was very angry. She was very angry and dissatisfied with the old lady's double-standard behavior. But no matter how angry or dissatisfied she was, she did not dare to show it, let alone lose her temper at the old lady. The old lady is the ancestor of the Mahist family and has absolute say. Even her husband dare not disobey her in the slightest, let alone her. Qiao Chen stood aside and watched, and gained some basic understanding of the old lady and MRSMO. It seems that not everyone in the brother-in-law's family likes his sister. This MRSMO seems to dislike his sister very much, and she doesn't like him either. Even though he is young, Qiao Chen is still very sensitive in some aspects and can sense MRSMO's hostility. Since ancient times, the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law has not been easy to handle. His sister is no exception. However, Qiao Chen was not very worried that MRSMO would make Jiao Mian angry. With his brother-in-law protecting him and this old lady protecting him, her sister would not suffer any injustice. And Qiao Chen knew Jiao Mian. His sister is definitely not the kind of person who keeps silent even when being bullied. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1093. Chapter 1093. A woman like her is too scheming. ACI, Mian, Grandma has asked you to cook your favorite dishes. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat something first? After the old lady scolded MRSMO for a few words, she ignored him and pulled Qiao walking towards the dining room with lingering hands. She looked at Jiao Mian with pity in her eyes. Is it hard to film outside? We haven't seen each other for a few days, but Grandma thinks you have lost some weight. I heard that as actors, You can't eat too much and you have to maintain. What kind of figure is this? In my opinion, where do you have so many rules? How can you maintain your figure when you are so thin? You should eat more and gain some weight to look good. People of the older generation still prefer girls who are a little fatter. Xiao Mian has a standard figure, neither fat nor too thin. But in the eyes of the old lady, she is still a little thinner. The old lady's protection made Xiao Mian feel warm in her heart. She no longer cared about Mrs. Mo's attitude towards her. She took the old lady's arm affectionately, supported her carefully, and replied sweetly, "Well, I listened to Grandma, eat more tonight. With Grandma caring about me so much, I don't feel hard at all." "Ha ha ha, you kid," the old lady said with an expression of enjoyment. In the living room, Mo Yesi frowned and looked at Mrs. Mo, who was still sitting on the sofa with a cold face and said nothing, and said patiently, "Mom, come over and eat." Mrs. Mo raised her head and looked at him coldly. "You just remembered that you have a mother now." Mo Yesi frowned. Mrs. Mo sneered again and said, "Who am I? I think I am redundant. I'd better not disturb your family's happy meal. You will all be uncomfortable and unhappy when I am here." With that said, she stood up, called a maid over and said, "Bring my dinner upstairs in a moment." The maid looked at Mo Yesi standing aside with hesitation on her face. "Second young master, this." Mrs. Mo immediately turned her face and said to the maid in a fierce tone, "I told you something, why do you ask the second young master? What's the matter? I really have no status at all in this family, and I can't even order you moved." The maid was so frightened that her face changed instantly. "No, that's not the case, madam." Mo Yesi's patience finally ran out. He took a deep breath, looked at Xiao Chen who was still standing by, suppressed his anger and said, Chen, you go over to eat first." Xiao Chen looked at the dark-faced mother and son, hesitated for a moment, and asked in a low voice, "Brother-in-law, what about you?" Mo Yesi's tone was quite calm, "I'll be there in a moment." Xiao Chen glanced at Mrs. Mo again, nodded and said, "Okay, then let's wait for my brother-in-law to have dinner together." Mo Yesi asked a maid to take Xiao Chen to the dining room, and asked the other maids to leave first. After Xiao Chen left, his tone was not as calm as before, and he asked Mrs. Mo with a hint of anger, "Mom, what do you want to do? Are you telling me not to come back to this house again?" Mrs. Mo also looked at him with an angry face. "What do I want to do? Didn't I tell you that day? I tell you clearly that I will not agree to you being together. Do you know what she is doing? What kind of woman is she? She just wants your money. A woman like her is too scheming. If you are with her, you will suffer a loss in her hands sooner or later." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1094. Chapter 1094. Even if that person is you, it won't work. Mo Yesi's face was expressionless. "It doesn't matter if she wants to take pictures of me. It's not like I don't have money to give her pictures. Regardless of whether you agree with us or not, we are already together. Mom, I respect you, so I have been trying to get you to accept Mian, and I have tried to change your impression of her after you showed your dislike of her time and time again. But now it seems that I did something wrong." Mrs. Mo's expression suddenly changed. "What do you mean?" With disappointment in his eyes, Mo Yesi said calmly, "I won't do this again in the future. It doesn't matter whether you can accept Mian or not. If you don't like her, I will let you meet less in the future. It's okay not to even meet. Whether you have a good impression of her or not, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's me who will live with her in the future, not you. I just like my wife, and I won't force anyone else." After saying this, he didn't even look at Mrs. Mo's reaction. He turned around and walked towards the dining room. After taking 2 steps, he stopped again. He turned his head and looked at Mrs. Mo's livid face. He pursed his thin lips and said in an indifferent voice, "If you want to go upstairs to eat, that's up to you. Mom, you don't actually have to do this with me. I really don't care. Don't be upset, thinking that you have given birth to an unfilial son. If Dad hadn't protected you and doted on you back then, I'm afraid your life wouldn't have been very satisfactory. You have enjoyed Dad's love and care, and I am proud that you have a good husband who loves you and dotes on you. I think you can definitely understand my feelings for Mian. Now I just want to pamper her, love her, and take good care of her all my life. No one can make her suffer." He paused and looked at Mrs. Mo and said word by word, "Even if that person is you, it won't do. If you insist on making trouble for Mian, don't blame me for doing unfilial things in the future. If you don't respect the people I care about, I won't respect you anymore." These few words he added made Mrs. Mo's face distorted with anger. "Are you going to challenge your mother because of that woman?" Mrs. Mo's voice trembled with anger. "Mo, yes," he said calmly, "that woman is my wife and your daughter-in-law. Mom, it doesn't matter if you don't like her. As long as you two can get along well, I don't force you to like her. But I will never allow anyone to do something to hurt her. If you really care about our mother-son relationship, don't force me to do those bad things." After saying that, she left. Mrs. Mo stood in the hall with a pale face, gritting her teeth with hatred as she listened to the laughter coming from the dining room. She would not let Jiao Mian stay in the Mo family. No way. Asterisk. When Mo Yesi arrived at the dining room, the servants had already brought dinner to the table. The old lady and the Jiao Mian siblings had a very happy chat. Jiao Chen, who was still awkward and nervous before, seemed to relax a lot. He didn't know what he said to the old lady. The old lady laughed so hard that tears came out. "What are we talking about? I'm so happy." Mo Yesi walked to Jiao Mian, and the servant immediately opened the dining chair. After he sat down, he reached out and pulled Jiao Mian's hand over, pinched her palm and hooked his lips and said, "I heard Grandma's laughter while I was still outside." Sitting on the left side of the old lady was Jiao Mian, and sitting on her side was Jiao Chen. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1095. Chapter 1095. The old lady really likes Jiao Chen. The old lady sat on the left side with Jiao Mian and on the right side with Jiao Chen. She looked at Jiao Chen lovingly and said, Chen just told us a joke. This kid is so funny." Mo Yesi raised his eyes and glanced at Jiao Chen opposite him, raised his lips, and pretended to be jealous. "Because of Mian, Grandma no longer cares about me as her grandson, and now there is another Chen. It seems that my status in this family is getting worse every day." The old lady was amused by him. "You kid, are you jealous of your wife and brother-in-law? I like Mian and Chen, and you're not happy yet? But these two kids, Mian and Chen, are really annoying. Grandma, don't you think so? It's not okay to hurt them." Jiao Chen was very nervous before coming. "I always feel that the elders of wealthy families must be difficult to get along with. They must be very serious and difficult to get close to." But the old lady gave up his idea. "He is the same as Jiao Mian. When others are nice to him, he will also be close to that person." Although they had only been in contact for a short time, he could feel the old lady's kindness and affection for the two siblings. This is completely different from Mrs. Mo's attitude. Jiao Chen, like Jiao Mian, said sweetly, "Grandma likes to hear my jokes, and I will tell you more in the future. As long as Grandma doesn't get tired of hearing them." "Okay." Jiao Chen was sitting in the first seat on the right side of the old lady. The old lady reached out and took his hand. Her eyes were gentle and loving, and she said with a smile, then Chen Chen will come over to spend time with grandma when he is free. In this house, it's quite boring to spend time with two old people like me and your Aunt Mo. You young people often come back to stay with us when nothing happens, and we are happy too. Let me see, from now on Chen Chen has weekends off, so he can come and live here, the old lady said, and then she became serious. Your sister is going to go filming in other places, and your brother-in-law is also busy with work, and even a grown man like him can't take care of you. Come to grandma, and grandma will improve your life. You can also spend some time with me, a boring old woman. Of course, you young people definitely still like to play with young people. If you feel like accompanying me, an old woman. How could it be? Before the old lady finished speaking, Chiao Chen said with a smile, if grandma wants to see Chen Chen, Chen Chen is willing to accompany grandma. With grandma, Chen Chen will not feel bored at all. His words made the old lady even happier. She smiled cheerfully and said, Chen Chen is a sensible kid and is used to making people happy. Let's just say this. From now on, you can come and stay with grandma during the holidays. Good. Mo Yesi saw that his brother-in-law and the old lady were getting along so well. Of course, he was happy to see this situation. He could also see that the old lady really liked Chiao Chen. Estimated that the main reason is because Chiao Chen looks like his second uncle. Mo Yesi didn't pay much attention to this at first. Now I pay attention and find that Chiao Chen does look very similar to his second uncle. The two are so similar that no one would doubt that they are biological father and son. Looking at Chiao Chen's face, which had no resemblance to Chiao Mian, Mo Yesi's eyes flashed with a strange look, and he looked at Chiao Chen calmly a few more times. ACI, where is your mother? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1096. Chapter 1096. Don't you think there is such a possibility? The old lady didn't see Mo and asked dissatisfiedly. Mo Yesi said calmly, she felt a little unwell and went back to the bedroom. She won't have dinner with us tonight. Humph! The old lady knew in her heart that Mo was definitely not feeling unwell, but she didn't expose it. She felt uncomfortable in the morning and felt uncomfortable in the evening. She felt uncomfortable as soon as you came back. It was just the right time to get sick. That's all, since if you don't feel well, just let her go. The old lady couldn't say anything else in front of Chiao Mian and Chiao Chen. In my heart, I was extremely dissatisfied with Mo's behavior. From her point of view, her daughter-in-law comes from a well-known family and has always been the most observant and polite person. She will never do anything inconsistent with her status. But today, what she did was too rude. Performed extremely poorly in front of several juniors, and was not a qualified elder at all. The old lady has always regarded face as important. Mo's various behaviors undoubtedly made her feel embarrassed. How does this make the Chiao sisters view the people of the Mo family? Perhaps, the younger brother of the Chiao family thought that his sister was bullied in the Mo family. Asterisk. The dinner was held in a pleasant atmosphere. Without Mo around, everyone enjoyed the meal quite happily. After a meal, the old lady asked Uncle Zhang to take Chiao Mian and Chiao Chen for a walk in the back garden, while she called Mo Yesi into her bedroom. Grandma, did you call me into your room alone for something special? Mo Yesi helped the old lady into the bedroom and closed the door. He helped the old lady sit down on the sofa nearby. The old lady was sitting on the sofa with a thoughtful expression on her face, as if she was thinking about something. After a while, she slowly raised her head, looked at Mo Yesi with her aging yet clear eyes and whispered, ACI, Do you also think that Jiao Chen's child looks very similar to your second uncle? At this moment, the old lady had a serious look on her face, especially those eyes. Even the expression between the eyebrows are exactly the same as your second uncle's. Also, your second uncle's ears are very distinctive. Different from ordinary people. I noticed Jiao Chen's ears just now. Did you know that his ears are exactly the same as your second uncle's? Tell me, is this too much of a coincidence? Even if there are indeed many people who look alike in the world, but it's not like this. The old lady became excited as she talked. Mo Yesi probably guessed what the old lady wanted to say to him. No wonder I would talk to him alone. Because some of the things that the old lady thought of, he had thought of before. Although that thought only flashed through his mind, now that the old lady mentioned it so seriously, Mo Yesi also started to take the matter seriously. Grandma, do you suspect, Jiao Chen is the second uncle's child whose life or death is uncertain? The expression on the old lady's face changed. Don't you think there is such a possibility? He is so similar to your second uncle. So similar that I have to think more about it? Grandma, I have thought about the matter you mentioned, however, I am afraid that the possibility is extremely small. You should not have too high hopes, lest you be too disappointed later. Why is the possibility so small? The old lady said excitedly. It doesn't matter that he looks similar to your second uncle. Even his ears are exactly the same. Can this be a coincidence? And I asked him about the year and month of his birth, and the same goes for my second uncle's lost child. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1097. Chapter 1097. Find out what happened in the year he was born. It's such a coincidence in every aspect. How can it really be a coincidence? Seeing the old lady so excited, Mo Yesi couldn't help pouring cold water on her. He was silent for a moment and asked with a smile, Grandma, what do you mean? Go and check. The old lady took a deep breath, pinched the string of Buddhist beads on her wrist and chanted silently, check carefully what happened in the year he was born. I have always felt that your second uncle's child must still be alive. If Jiao Chen is really that child, then God will really pity your second uncle. From now on, your second uncle will have a wife. Mo Yesi was silent and did not express any opinions. If Jiao Chen is really from the Mo family, it is indeed good news for his second uncle. Also a surprise. Because his second uncle has nothing to do so far, he went to the hospital for a checkup and said it was due to physical reasons and it would be difficult to have a child. Especially now that I am older, it is even more difficult to have children. There is almost no chance of having another child. Although it would be okay to adopt any number of children based on his status, or to adopt a few children from side relatives, it is still different if they are not his own biological children. So he neither adopted nor adopted. The old lady has been worrying about this matter all day long. Okay, although Mo Yesi didn't think there could be such a coincidence in the world, just because he looked similar, he really was his missing cousin, but since the old lady wanted to check it out, she would check it out. Alright. After finding out and knowing the result, she would no longer think about it. This is not a troublesome thing for him anyway. Do you think Grandma is overthinking? But Grandma is really not just imagining things. There is a high chance that Jiao Chen's child is a child of our Mo family. Otherwise, if he and Mian were biological siblings, how could they not have any problems at all? Picture. Even if one is like his father and the other is like his mother, there will always be one or two similarities between the two of them, right? However, there is nothing similar between him and Mian. They are siblings from the same father and mother. Don't you think it's abnormal? The old lady became excited again as she spoke. Although she was not completely convinced that Jiao Chen was the child, she already felt that there was a 60% chance that it was who she guessed. She has always been worried about her second child having no children. If Qiao Chen's child was really the second child who was lost, she would have nothing to worry about. So she had to figure this out. Even if she thinks too much, she still has to figure it out. Mo Yesi naturally noticed what the old lady said. Qiao Mian and Qiao Chen really don't look much alike. Grandma, don't get too excited. Mo Yesi was really worried that if the old lady got excited, her old habits would break out. He walked to sit down next to the old lady, took her hand and said with a smile, "You said these possibilities are not impossible. The child was just taken away, and no one knows where he was taken. It is possible that he is still alive. It is indeed possible that it is Qiao Chen. However, just don't have high hopes, and don't take this matter too seriously." Mo Yesi thought for a while and said, "When we get back, I'll ask Wei Zheng to find someone to investigate." The old lady nodded, "Well, check it carefully. Check it carefully, don't just check it casually and then be done." End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1098. Chapter 1098. Don't you think you are too biased? Asterisk. Mo Yesi finished talking to the old lady, stayed for another hour or so, and then left with Qiao Mian and Qiao Chen. Until they left, Mo, who claimed to be feeling unwell, still did not show up. After the group left, the old lady asked the maid to call Mo down with a cold face. "Tell the lady that I'm looking for her. No matter how uncomfortable she is, she has to come down." Soon, the maid went to call Mo downstairs. "Mom, are you looking for me?" Mo came down from upstairs and saw the old lady sitting in the living room with a straight face. She was a little frightened and walked slowly to her. The old lady didn't say anything, she just sneered. This sneer frightened Mo so much that her expression suddenly changed. She said cautiously, "Mom, is something wrong?" The old lady raised her head and glanced at her with cold eyes. She spoke in an even colder voice, "Why am I looking for you? You don't know why? Shangguan Wenpi, how old are you, and you still talk to your son? My daughter-in-law is angry. They finally came home once, but you are so showy. Do you think they will never come back again? What you did today were like an elder. What do you want others to think about us Mo family members? Let me tell you, I know all the little thoughts in your mind. But listen carefully, I don't care what you think, you have put those thoughts away from your mind. ACI is already married, and I am very satisfied with Mian. If you dare to cause anything to happen to me and ruin the marriage between my grandson and his wife, I will not forgive you." Mo's expression changed, and she looked aggrieved. Looking at her appearance, the old lady sneered again, "What's the matter, you still feel wronged? Do you think I have wronged you?" The old lady has never been very satisfied with her daughter-in-law. But because of her son, she also loved Wu Jiwu, and even though she was not very satisfied in her heart, she did not do anything to embarrass Mo. She thought that no matter how dissatisfied Mo was with Qiao Mian, she would at least have this mentality. She will also take steps backward because of her son. But obviously, she was wrong. Her daughter-in-law is not as sensible as she thinks. The old lady would no longer be polite to her. She hates the messy things happening in the family the most, which affects a good family. And Mo is now doing what she hates the most. Mo bit her lip. She looked at the old lady with red eyes, thinking about the old lady's attitude towards Qiao Mian, and then about the old lady's attitude towards her. The grievances accumulated in my heart became more and more, and suddenly I couldn't bear it any longer. "Mom, you are partial," she cried out in grievance. Mo was also a woman who was spoiled by her husband. Even in front of her mother-in-law, she couldn't help crying, "Qiao Mian has only been married to ACI for a long time, and you have only met her a few times, but now you keep saying, it's helping her speak. Everything she does is right, and everything I do is wrong. You are satisfied with everything about her, but you are not satisfied with anything about me. Mom, don't you think you are too partial? What is so good about her that makes you so satisfied? Isn't it just that she has a sweet mouth and can coax people? But how many words come out of a person like her? Are you telling the truth? You are really kind to her, but do you think she is the same to you? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1099. Chapter 1099. She is a woman who worships money. Do you know that you were deceived by her? She is a scheming woman who coaxed both you and ACI into thinking. Now it's not just her, there's also her brother MRSMO said, her teeth itching with hatred. Both of them have no good intentions, they all talk sweet words. Old madam, you are such a shrewd person, didn't you see it? After hearing what she said, the old lady's face darkened. So that's what you think in your heart. You think I am partial, but have you ever thought about any of the things you have done during this time? Did you do it right? You've been trying to break up ACI's marriage all day long, and you still want me to look good on you. Is there a mother like you? You don't hope that your son will live a happy life, but you spend all day thinking about how to make him unhappy. Tell yourself, how can you make me satisfied with you? Do you want me to have a grandchild? My son is not having a good life, do you still want me to give you a good look? MRSMO has always been afraid of old ladies. Don't even dare to talk back to the old lady. But she was also very angry today, and felt that she was particularly wronged. She couldn't help but said something to the old lady, let ASI continue to be with Jiao Mian, which is what makes him unhappy. I just hope that he will be well, and I hope that he will do well Ruyi. I don't want my precious son to be destroyed in the hands of that money-loving woman. Mom, you have been deceived by Jiao Mian and don't know her true face. If you knew, you would definitely not be willing to let ASI continue to be with her. Oh, so you know her true face, the old lady said with a cold face, then tell me, what is her true face? MRSMO suddenly became excited. She is a woman who worships money. I have never seen anyone who worships money more than her. She knew that the old lady would not believe her, so she immediately told the old lady exactly what happened that day when she went to negotiate with Jiao Mian. She spoke excitedly and angrily, and did not notice that the old lady's face was getting more and more ugly. Mom, do you think she worships money? She actually asked for all the shares of our MO family. I have never seen such a black-hearted woman. She also said that as long as I agreed to her conditions, she would divorce ACI immediately. Do you still think she is sincere to ACI? She is with ASI because of his money. How can such a snobbish and money-worshipping woman continue to stay with ASI? I will never let such a woman continue to be my daughter-in-law. Even if you and ACI have objections to me, I will still be a villain this time. After MRSMO finished speaking for a while, she didn't hear any response from the old lady. Then he lowered his head in confusion. When she saw the old lady's gloomy face, her eyes filled with anger, and she looked like she was very angry. She thought that the old lady was angry because she knew Jiao Mian's true face. Her face couldn't help but reveal a hint of joy. Jiao Mian is so confident now because she relies on the favor of her son and the old lady. If you lose the favor of the old lady. She became happy as she thought about it, and the smile on her face couldn't be hidden. Mom, you now know her true face. How can a woman like her be worthy of our family? No wonder marriages have always been about well-matched marriages. This is not a well-matched marriage. It really doesn't work. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1100. Chapter 1100, Have you ever been so cruel to an old lady? If Rura married RACI, there would be so many things, do you think so? But it's still too late now. I asked Rura about that child, and she was very passionate about ASI and said she was willing to wait for ASI. So I thought, as long as you are willing to persuade ASI, he can divorce Chiao Mian Mian. ACI is the one who listens to your words the most. Only if you persuade him is the most effective. The old lady remained silent until she heard this, and then she raised her head and looked at MRSMO. You want me to persuade ASI to divorce? Yes, MRSMO nodded expectantly. Mom, only you can persuade ACI. He respects you the most and is filial to you. He will definitely listen to your words. So will you. You are most precious to him, and you definitely don't want your precious grandson to be ruined at the hands of a snobbish woman who worships money. The old lady didn't speak, she just looked at her with a sullen face. MRSMO originally thought that the old lady was persuaded by her and came to her side. But when she saw the old lady's angry eyes, she suddenly wasn't so sure again. That feeling of fear came back. She swallowed her saliva and felt a little weak. Mom, you damn thing. The old lady grabbed a pillow on the sofa and threw it towards her. The pillow hit MRSMO. The old lady was very strong, but what she threw was just a pillow, so it was impossible to hurt MRSMO. But there were other maids standing in the living room. The old lady did this in front of other people. It can be said that she did not give MRSMO any face. MRSMO was stunned for a few seconds after being hit. When she came to her senses, she immediately felt that she had lost all her dignity. She opened her eyes wide with an expression of disbelief. As if he didn't believe that the old lady would treat her like this. Although the old lady had never been very close to her, she had never done anything to embarrass her so much. She is the mistress of the MO family. Now that so many people have seen her mother-in-law teach her a lesson, how can she establish her authority in the MO family in the future? The old lady didn't care whether she lost face or not. After smashing a pillow, she still felt that it was not enough to relieve her anger. She picked up the crutch on the side and pointed it at her and said, "You actually did such a thing without telling me. You still did it, have the nerve to tell me. Shangguan Wenpi, are you crazy? Do you know what your son's situation is like? Do you want him to be a bachelor for the rest of his life?" MRSMO has never been so cruel to an old lady. Her face turned pale with fright. Mom, no, Your son has a strange disease and is allergic to women. He was originally going to die alone. Because God took pity on him, he arranged for Mian Mian to be given to him to save him from the tragic ending of being alone for a lifetime. It's a good thing for you now, not only don't you take care of this, you didn't tell her about your hard-won daughter-in-law, but you actually threatened her to divorce ACI. The old lady was so angry that her heart ached, and her hand holding the cane was trembling. If Mian Mian really divorces ACI because of you, you will be the sinner of our MO family. MRSMO was so frightened that she didn't even dare to speak. She has never seen the old lady so angry, let alone been scolded by the old lady so angrily. But, she wants all the shares of our MO family. Also, that Jiao Chen. Shut up, the old lady said angrily. Anyone who is not a fool knows that her words are just angry words. You actually took it seriously. Shangguan Wenpi, this is the last time I warn you. From now on, you are not allowed to interfere in SI and Mian Mian's marriage anymore. End of this chapter.